Hello and welcome to episode 17 of our Timberborn Update 7 Folktails Hard Mode playthrough here in Cycle 25 Day 6, where we're less than one day from our next bad tide. So that's a really good opportunity for us to hit pause, I say as my finger slips off the spacebar, and check and make sure all of our sluices and stuff are set up correctly because, as always, you guys leave really good comments, and I'm really thankful for that. And I was reminded that this sluice was not set up to close above contamination. And while you might say, you know, that doesn't really matter because you have this diversion in place, let me tell you, Murphy's Law is a very real thing in Timberborn, and when I try to do a whole bunch of stuff. So it never hurts to be prepared. So we're just going to make sure that that's all good to go. This one is basically, you know, categorically impossible for this to ever be polluted, so that's the way it is, and that's the way it's going to stay. Everything else over here has not changed. But, you know, since we are in the point where we need to be increasing the reservoir size anyway, we can come over here and take a look. I've got a couple of dynamites to set off. There we go with that. And these two dirt excavators have done a fantastic job making this area larger. We unfortunately don't have time to put another one in before this next bad tide starts, but we will want to go ahead and move both of these on because, well, they dug as far down as they can go, and that's about all we can ask for. We do still need dirt, though, so we're going to keep this one going. We're still at a net deficit of beavers because we have some incapacitated beavers. Imagine that. Beavers getting injured in the mine. That never happens. A number of comments last episode and then the one before even to prioritize this mine by haulers. So we did go ahead and take care of that. And since we're already over here, we can talk about a couple of the other comments we received about making this area a little bit more conducive to happy beavers, right? Because we have our little outpost for the time being. And it really doesn't take that much time for us to come in and just do some simple decorative stuff that's going to give the beavers who live here a little bit more of a fighting chance of having some sort of a successful, happy time while they're spending their days over here working in the mine. So just a couple of very simple improvements. Again, it doesn't have to be anything super complicated, but if we're going to take the time to do it, we might as well just go ahead and make sure those guys can get up a couple points. Because while the average is 23, the beavers working over here... Okay, bad example. Bad example. This one's at 25. But let's click one of these guys. 23. Okay, so who's super far down here? Am I just... Okay, here we go. I should have clicked on the house. 17, 20, 17, 20, 26. Wow, that's actually really high for over here. But the point stands. It's never a bad idea to increase well-being just in general. And we obviously have opportunities to do that all over the map, and we will continue doing so as we move on. But our main thing we did last episode with a whole lot of time-lapsing was to get this area all set, ready to go for aquatic farming, and I'm happy to report that a lot of this is planted, and there's plenty more that can be done. But I wanted to give a shout-out to one of our friends in the Discord for posting this incredibly helpful graphic. I'll put that up on the screen. That gave me a couple of insights into small things I can do to improve how the aquatic farm is set up and a couple of things to fix. So I'll just go ahead and take care of a couple of these. This is a hole that does not actually have to be there, so that can get filled in with dirt. And there's a couple of spots, according to this chart, that I have missed for planting, that are eligible for planting. I don't see where that is. I think I may have already taken care of that, but it never hurts to take a look just to be sure around the edge here. Yeah, it seems like all of this that can be planted has been planted. But since we're looking at this, we can take a look at, if you remember by looking at the chart, you can rewind a couple seconds. It's not even rewinding, it's VHSs are dead and gone. But I digress. You can take a look at that chart again, skip back to look at that. And it was noted that we're going to have some problems with increased evaporation for no real gain in planting as we continue moving forward. So I think what's going to make sense as we continue moving up is to go ahead and replace these double platforms. Now, I can't do this on this bottom level because this has already been put in place. But moving upward, we can make these pillars out of dirt. Actually, you know what? No, we've only put this one thing in. I'm going to go ahead. I know how much you guys love seeing me do this over, but I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. Right here, this piece of dirt, we go all the way down. Underneath it is a platform. I mean, same as all these other corners. But since this is already not a plantable space because it is a platform, we might as well just replace these with dirt, at least on the bottom levels, because that's going to reduce the amount of tiles that are going to be evaporating if we don't have to have anything else there. And the reason that works is because we take a look up here. All of these are 1 block high because we have to put these overhangs on them. But this is just a space filler because there's no other thing that has to connect to it. So if we're thinking pragmatically, it really should just be dirt. So I appreciate that that was brought to my attention. And we are going to have to just try to remember to take advantage of all this new knowledge. I have a hard time absorbing a lot of this stuff, but I really appreciate when you guys think critically about how we have stuff set up, because it always ends up being helpful. All that being said, it is, once again, time to make sure that everything is looking fine here. I know if I don't address it now, then I'm going to forget, and then I'm going to feel bad because this is actually really, really helpful stuff. But I digress. This bit here, I already put these double platforms in, so we can go ahead and get rid of that. Put that there, and that should be the outside with the exception of... Wait, why was this... Okay. Did I accidentally do this incorrectly and correctly at the same time? And correctly, not incorrectly twice. Anyway, we're going to get rid of that. Got bad tide coming in. How long is it going to be? Let's find out. Come on. Come on. That was a lot longer than I thought it would be. 28 days, so almost the maximum of 30. We'll take that. So what's going to happen now, and this is going to be an interesting problem for us to solve, is we have to have the aquatic farm irrigated, and according to the math that was done in that graphic is every day the evaporation rate is 45, almost 46. We'll call it 46, 45.97, but 46 CMS per day, which in terms of units, I'm not sure that I understand the whole water unit like conversions in Timberborn. I was never good at stoichiometry and chemistry in high school. Almost failed the class. That's another fun story. But yeah, passed I think with like a 69.95 or something. In my school district, it rounded up to a 70, and that was the minimum passing grade. But I digress heavily. If we don't fill in the non-plantable areas, the ones in the corners that I talked about that we're going to put in dirt instead of these double platforms, then we can add another 0.28 to the evaporation, according to the math that was done here. So if we have an idea that we'd like to avoid as much non-essential evaporation as possible, then I think anything we can do to help that process along is going to be great, especially considering there's so much water that has to go in this, and there's so much water that we're storing here for drinking, and we do have, you know, full storage, but it's almost 30 days, and we have 140 beavers, give or take a couple. So, again, any amount of waste that we can avoid is probably smart, and I do have a couple ideas to prevent that problem from being a super huge issue. Specifically, a number of you suggested that we make a secondary reservoir here to funnel all of the clean water into the aquatic farm so we don't have to rely on water dumps so much. And that's something we can definitely work on. I think it would be smart at least to have another little bit of stuff here. We can fill a whole bunch of land in and just basically pump this entire thing full no matter what. Probably would be a smart thing to do, but I'm not going to be able to get beavers down here until we have this a little bit better situated. But I'm going to give them a chance to get it done and pop that guy in there. And then I'm just going to put in terrain blocks right the way across here, just because I can. And then I'm not going to worry about a sluice escaping because I don't think this is going to be able to fill it up to the point where it's going to become a problem. And we also can have the water come in through here. Keep in mind, I put the sluice gate in to prevent bad water from going over here, but then we did the diversion, so it ended up not being an issue anyway. And I can actually take this out, and we can keep an eye on how high everything is going to be in here, which, judging by how this is set up, again, remember, this is the bottom of the map right here. This is already kind of a convenient 2-block high reservoir, so if we just had this kind of locked in here, then we'd be able to hold a pretty significant amount of water that would just continually fill up our, what do you call it? It's currently only 0.1 downstream depth, which is quite low, but that would help tremendously, as would connecting our main reservoir to this with the help of a sluice gate, like we've done here and also here, but, you know, not relying on this water dump. So I think what's going to end up happening is I'm going to remove this entirely, and instead we have this all the way down. If you remember what we did before, we've got this. I love this layer tool. It's so helpful, so convenient. It's actually tremendous. But if we just turned this instead into either a small channel or a quote-unquote pressurized pipe going into this area, then what that would do is that would make all of this water a kind of pressurized source via gravity to feed this, and of course shut off when it's full. And then it would be fully automated, and we wouldn't ever have to worry about it. Probably would just be able to take this completely out, take this completely out, and we wouldn't have to grow any trees. Well, we do need to grow trees. We wouldn't have to grow any food here, which means we could expand our tree growing. Not that we need to, but in the interest of, you know, completionism, or whatever you want to call it, expand this for growing, and then we can get rid of these aquatic things here. And if we felt like it, we could actually expand the reservoir tremendously. I need to stop saying that, but we could have this whole thing just come all the way across here and hold a lot of water at the same time as we're expanding this. Lots of ideas, and I do want to get to as many of those as possible, but I think it's, you know, one of those things. Just takes time. Just takes time. It always does. But we're going to let them continue getting things accomplished here and set off our dynamite and start replacing all of these things in the corners. Eternal projects, always and forever. Wait a second, did I, okay. How did I get away with doing this way? I don't, sometimes I look at stuff I've done in the game, and I just think, you know, an insane person has visited here. But, I digress. We'll go ahead and get these. I don't really have to orient those in any specific way. But we'll go ahead and get these little corner bits filled in. Going to help us keep things a little bit cleaner in terms of evaporation, and just look a little bit better along the way. Nice and simple. That goes there. And of course these corners are going to get filled in as well as we move along. Which reminds me of another topic I wanted to bring up. You guys kind of talked about in the comments a little bit last episode. And that was a number of people asking why I'm even bothering to check range when I'm designing an aquatic farm that's going to be filled with water anyway. And I answered, I can't reply to everybody, but I answered a couple comments. And what I was trying to do, and I thought I explained it last episode, maybe I did a poor job of that, but I'm not concerned about the irrigation range of a pool that's going to be constantly full, because obviously that's going to be 100%. What I was interested in figuring out was the range from this central thing for the levels above it. And that is, you know, I obviously did not do a perfect job of this, but I feel like overall it's pretty good. And while it will have some irrigation communicated vertically via these terrain blocks in these little corners here, it's not going to go all the way up to levels beyond this one. So it was still very important to me that I had that figured out and could just move forward appropriately from there. It's also worth noting that at the very bottom, which I did not do here, these corner bits, if I'm reading the comment correctly, I might not be, but I was told that these corner bits here, maybe it wasn't the aquatic one, maybe it was these up front here, but these are actually plantable, so I'm not exactly sure. Not exactly sure what's going on. Maybe it's because these are connected now that this is plantable again. But the gist of it was that this very corner piece here could be replaced with another terrain block for the purpose of evaporation preservation. because it wasn't reachable. But, you know, we click on the aquatic farmhouse, and it very much is. This one in the corner isn't reachable by this farmhouse, but we do have this second one here, which can reach all of them except that. And then, of course, these bits here. So actually, all the pieces, all the different land spots are covered, just not by each aquatic farmhouse. So if there's some sort of miscommunication between that, then I do apologize. But I think we're probably covered here. Everything is looking pretty good. And I do also see on this documentation thing that some of these were not planted, but they are planted. So again, not exactly sure what happened there, but I think we're all good. To make a very, very, very long story slightly shorter, we've made some improvements to the design based on some very helpful, very, very appreciated feedback. I'm always going to be thankful for that. So appreciate you guys looking out for my interests in that regard. But that being said, we can continue. We have 203 metal blocks. We do need to finish getting all of this set up. And I will go ahead and get those in place now. And we'll just continue making whatever progress we can on all of these bits and pieces. Go ahead and get those taken care of so I don't have to worry about this later. Doesn't become a problem. I think they can reach a decent bit of this without it being a huge issue. But again, we're going to just have to do it. And hopefully we don't make any dumb mistakes. Because I do always feel bad when that happens. But, say it with me, kids. I digress. Little bits and pieces, get everything done. This is looking fine. This is outside of the range, so we can go ahead and connect this temporarily to get that taken care of. And I think that should solve that problem. Everything's looking good. But I did want to come back to this irrigation via the main reservoir, because it's only been a couple days and we're already down one full block. So I'm not really keen on the whole irrigating this with the main reservoir until we have a larger capacity. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and pause all of these pumps except one, so we don't drain it quite so fast. And we can continue working on other stuff. Because there's still plenty of other stuff to do. We've just been kind of hyper-focused on this giant aquatic farm for the past several episodes. And I know people want to see progress on some other stuff as well. So we did talk earlier about making this area suck a little bit less. We also really need to increase our output of metal blocks. And I did say, you feel free to quote me, I did say that I didn't think we're going to need more than these 3 smelters based on the output of the mine. But the fact of the matter is we definitely do. Because I got 1,200 scrap metal. It only keeps going up. We need to make sure that we have additional stuff coming out. So I think, I mean, based on how I laid this out, there's not really a whole lot of room to expand. But we do have the power of power shafts. That was not a very elegant sentence, but I think you understand what I'm getting at. We can go ahead and make our way over here, depending on how we want to have this set up functionally. I think I can get away with... no. I was incorrect in that assumption. Well, this is awkward, because I was going to put 3 more of them over here, but now I'm going to have to just... well, I guess it's not a big deal to come back this way. It's probably fine. For the sake of visual continuity, I am just going to put levees here. I know I don't need to put levees there, but it's, you know, it's just going to look a little bit better, so we can live with that. This is still, you know, decently close to the rest of these things, but I know it's not perfectly ideal. That's just something we're going to have to accept and move on. Thank you, autosave lag. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put 3 more of these smelters here. And since this is a corner piece, no water can get through it, we can just safely remove it, and we can pop in an upward power shaft connecting right there, and then a downward power shaft to complete the ensemble, as it were. We'll just let them take care of this in due time. I mean, we're not, like, rushing to get a lot more metal blocks, but it's going to affect our progress if we continue. Aha! Remember when I said I wasn't worried about it? The irrigation stuff? Well, The time has come for me to be very, very wrong. So, the best way to solve this, I think, unfortunately, most of these crops are going to die. But I'm going to go ahead, since, you know, this was originally to prevent contamination from coming in, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that little bit there. Let that water come in. Obviously, it's going to surge, overflow a little tiny bit. But what we need to do is we need to blast an access hole. Remember, all this after I said, well, I really don't want to irrigate this way. Like, yeah, you know, go ahead, play the clip, put the dunce cap on me. I was very wrong about how this was actually going to be working here. So, again, we don't have to have this aquatic farm anymore. This can go away, and we can redo the river and everything. But what that's going to mean is that we also don't have to have this sluice set to close above downstream depth to the same degree. If we lower this all the way down, and we talked about doing this a little bit, I think, and I might have dismissed it as, oh, we don't need to worry about this, but now that we actually have this other aquatic farm in here, and now that I have to actually try to save all the crops, because, you know, these two dumps are not going to cut the mustard. That's not fast enough. We can go ahead, in the interest of actually saving what's going on here, we can go ahead and get everything situated nicely, flood this, and just move on with our lives. But I'm not exactly sure I'm going to do that before all these crops die. Maybe I shouldn't worry about it. I probably really should not worry about it. But now I'm forced to confront the sins of past me and rectify that problem. So that's always fun. I really like the idea of stuff coming in through the center, like we did here, but that obviously is not going to work to go here, because then I'd have to excavate all this, and we just don't have time or the ability to even get up here in the first place. So get on with it already. Yep, I know. And on it will be got. That's not even correct English. It's fine. Totally fine. Get that taken care of there. Get that taken care of there. All I need to worry about in this exact moment is getting water in. It doesn't matter if it's too much right now, but I don't know that they're going to be able to get this done. So I guess we're just going to have to see what our builder beavers are going to get up to. But why are you not building this? I specifically said build this. 0.5 days. All right, come on. Come on. All right, now get that in. Get it in. This is next, right? Right? We agreed that this is next? Oh, please. Don't make me any more of a fool than I already have. Come on. Come on. I know you got the... There you go. There you go. Get on in here. No, come back. Come back. Come back, please. Please. Somebody can finish this. All right. That's done. Detonate. All right. Do we still have 0.3 days? I know these are going to be drier over here. 0.2. Okay, so we might lose some in this corner, but now we can actually get water in to a tremendous degree. All right. That's good news. And I know this is a super ugly, hopefully temporary solution. I do still want it to be in the center for, you know, aesthetic sensibility reasons, but we can definitely... Oh, you know what? That would actually work in a manner that I would consider to be acceptable. Just for one night only. One night only. 24-hour working hours. Just get this popped. You know what? I'm going to force myself to redo this by putting a levee on top and saying, wow, that's ugly. I don't want it to look like that. But we'll go ahead and get that taken care of. Builders, come do your thing. Stop working on the dirt and build the sluice, please. Please and thank you. Are these flooded yet? No, they're not flooded. Did we lose any crops? We might not have lost a single crop. And this is almost full enough. That's in place. Okay, so close above downstream depth of... I have these set to 0.8? 0.9? Okay, that might be a little much. We can go down to 0.8. Let's do that, just for the sake of continuity. Yeah, there we go. Right, so that's going to solve that problem. I really hope I don't have to worry about the close above contamination thing, but I'm going to set it anyway, just because that's what I did with the others. So, we more or less prevented that from being a colossal disaster of a problem. And that is unfortunately going to drain our reservoir to a rather sizable degree. But it's not that big of an issue because we have 5,500 water stored, and I think I can safely posit both of those as we continue moving forward, taking care of everything else here. What's this set to? 0.6. Oh yeah, this is a tremendous quantity of water we're trying to store in here. It's almost there. Almost there. Oh wow, yeah, that took so much out. May have been a mistake. Feel free to roast me if you so choose, but this is ready to get shut now, and it is. Get this filled all the way back up. I will go ahead and remove these as well, just to get a little bit more space. But yeah, now that that micro crisis of my own causing is no longer a concern, we can go ahead and continue making our way through all of this stuff. Again, I'm trying to preserve my my bits and pieces here. Well, I hope I didn't make a stupid mistake with this. I probably did. No, it looks like that was right. I don't know what about this made me think that I had made some sort of really bad error. I don't know, maybe it's just, you know, the latent paranoia of, oh, you made a boo-boo. Well, they're going to get that all taken care of eventually. But the aquatic farm has been saved, which means we can, I guess, I don't need to, you know, delete any of this stuff, but I can unplant all of that. They will harvest what remains, since I'm sure we could still use, oh, completely full spatter dock storage and completely full okay, well, that's an entirely different problem. But that's going to clear up this space, and that's going to enable us to do what I originally talked about. I don't know why I couldn't remember what I was going to say there. But we can take this out, and we can just directly loop this in. And then because of how low it is, we can go ahead and cover that with the regular dirt, and we can get this whole space back, which I think is going to be nice. But yeah, these farms here are going to go away. Obviously, they're already dead. This is for regular farming, but we don't have any space to put the farmhouses because I was going to put the farmhouses on the next layer up. But we haven't gotten there yet because we're still trying to build this one. You know, it's a, what do I always say? It's a process, and it takes time. And it really, truly does. I'm going to leave the ladder here just in case we need it, but take a look at... Yeah, see, they haven't even bothered coming over here to build this yet because they have so many other projects going on. But this is going to make it possible for us to have a little bit faster metal generation and, you know, make all of our dreams come true. So we'll let them get to work on that. And taking a look at my list here on the side... there's still a couple of other things we could take care of, or at least kind of improve while we're waiting for this stuff to get built. And it's probably about time we talked about our housing here. There's those of you who really like the sprawled out, different, incoherent housing ideas, and I think it does have a unique charm to it, but I would like to kind of optimize it a little bit. And now that we have this area that is going to be available to be reclaimed for other purposes, I think we can kind of reimagine this central area. I know we talked about putting in a bigger zipline station. We've talked about different designs for that. And if we're going to build a new housing complex by design for this, then I do think I would want to have that integrated nicely, especially so the beavers can, you know, actually interact with the ziplines in a much more efficient way, and we can apply all of our different bonuses here, because right now we got houses all over the place here, and it's really, really hard to get the bonuses to apply to everything. And right now the average is only 20? 19. Okay, well, do we have injuries? Oh, somebody's stupid. Yeah, okay. I left them on 24-hour work days. And I know there's at least a couple of you who left that as a comment, so if you already have, I want you to know that I care about you, and it's going to be okay despite me continually making mistakes. But, yeah, like this is simply abysmal. The social life numbers, and then we haven't even done anything with any of this stuff. And that's going to be a whole lot easier if the houses are more condensed, more logically laid out, and so on and so forth. I'm not saying that we have to get rid of this completely, but let's face it, this is a really suboptimal kind of just patchwork setup, and you know, all these different medium storages and just a maze of paths, and we can do better. We can make a nice beaver apartment building, maybe similar to how we've done in the past. If you have any ideas or preferences for that, please do let me know in the comments, but I do think that would be a nice thing to do, especially now that we have access to the 3D terrain. There's a lot of cool possibilities with that, and I think that would be a whole lot of fun. Don't forget, if I can find it, yeah, we got Lidos and we got showers that we could absolutely do something. I know there's at least a couple of you who are in the strange obsession with the showers that I don't fully understand. But you want them, we can do them. We can do that shower cave or whatever I think we talked about a long time ago. But no, I'm all about doing fun stuff, right? We talked about this. It's supposed to be an enjoyable thing where we can just kind of have fun playing with the beavers and figuring out what works and what doesn't work. So appreciate your input on that. We have a tremendously low reservoir now, thanks to the whole aquatic farm debacle. But I think we're probably going to be fine. 18.7 days is enough time for this to become fully depleted in terms of evaporation. But you know, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. I think we can roll the dice on just leaving this closed because, of course, fewer tiles of surface area mean that it's going to evaporate slower. We can just let these, there we go, keeps bringing that one up. Let this water, keep this maintained, keep whatever's left in here, and of course, continue the process of expanding our reservoir with the help of the dirt excavators. I did say we're going to remove this one and continue going this way, so we can go ahead and make that step now. And easiest thing for us to do is just follow the terrain contours and increase the height without blasting all of this down, but I do still need a power connection, so we will dynamite that, and that's going to get attached to an upward power shaft going that direction once that's available, and then we're going to have to come up here and take care of the rest of this stuff. So the wood's got to go. Just mark these for demolition. See, there'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's got to go, and then of course these are going to have to go as well. So we might as well, while we are in here, go ahead and just get rid of those, and then we'll put our next dirt excavator here, and then I'll probably just go ahead and remove this one for the sake of getting the materials back, because that's going to help us build the rest of these, and then of course we'll have to put in a power bridge gap thing to take care of all that. It's a very long process. It always is, but it is very much worth doing, so we can be sure we have everything going on nicely here. So it looks like we have all of our metal in place for this next level here. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to have a couple of these 5x5s in place here. I know I said it before, but it is very funny how the very top of that building just comes up through here and nobody says anything about it. I'm going to get that platform and that platform started. And then we are, of course, going to have to put in the terrain blocks on top. And then I'm going to put in farmhouses here. Keep in mind that I don't have all the dirt in, so I guess I could just go ahead and put all... No, not that level. Not that level. Go ahead and put this in and that in so I can actually show you what's going on. We talked about this a little bit, but if I put these here, then this has full access to this entire thing with the exception of this side and this side, which is why this guy's in here. And then if we go all the way down, then they actually have a pretty decent amount of range on the level below that, which is pretty exciting stuff. So I think the capacity for harvesting and planting notwithstanding, the coverage provided by these two efficient farmhouses across what currently would be the entirety of the farm is absolutely outstanding. And we're going to have Probably more just so we can get everything out. But these guys will be able to plant and harvest everything. Just maybe not everything before something else has to get replanted and they have other jobs to accomplish. But they will be physically capable of reaching everything, which I think is great. So that is why I decided to do that. That way, we'll of course have to wait for them to build all the rest of this. And it does always take time. But we do have a lot of other stuff we can accomplish. Come back, check on this. Looks like that's good to go. So, I did a bad. And this whole time, I was so proud of my, thought process here. Fortunately, it's not a, completely irredeemable mistake. All you gotta do is just move this back one tile, and that will work out splendidly. Cool. Yeah, so this is now a priority to get those put in place, and then of course the rest of this can come. Then we'll put a third one here to have a total of 6, which I think is what this can support, but regardless, we have 1,200 scrap metal stored up, so I don't think we're going to have to be pinching our pennies, so to speak. Just let that be what it's going to be. 16 days left in the drought. We are down to 4,000 drinking water. But we are no longer dumping it in a hole here, which is great to see. I'm wondering how there got to be so much water here. Because this has been closed the entire time. I don't think I made... No. Maybe it just splashed over. That must have been what it was. Very curious. But it looks like this, at the very least, is ready to go. So I can get started. Make sure this is actually correct. There we go. And I think I have to have this go based on the height of the terrain. Yeah, that's got to be the same height or lower, so we will have to go up. Why can't I click? There we go. No, not there. Click there. And that is going to allow me to put that in there, which will also require that I put in platforms to hold the thing, and of course it has trees in the way, so... That's going to be what that's going to be. They'll get to it eventually. I'm not tremendously concerned. We do have 15 days to continue getting that excavated. And we're working here. Now, the irrigation here isn't looking stellar. It's not looking fantastic. And I'm not sure how to interpret that because we do have water coming in this way. So I guess if we look at this side, see, this looks a whole lot better, which is really weird. Because this is the same amount of irrigation with just a higher thing on the left. I don't know, maybe I'm just losing what remains of my mind. Nope, I don't want that to go that way. I want that to go that way. Just try to keep this organized nicely. Sunflowers, I don't think we're going to need to have an entire level of them. And obviously these crops are in the process of dying. The trees are in the process of dying. See, I thought the irrigation was going to be a little bit better. Well, I guess not. Let's, since we know we're not going to use this, let's go ahead and get this out of the way. I know we talked a little bit about putting in a water pipe here. Yeah, well, we can lose all this. We have 7,700 food. It's going to be okay. You don't have to worry. Because we're going to be harvesting stuff before too long. Just want to make sure this is going to be in a decent spot. We can use a canal to accomplish our goals here. If we want to do... I don't know why my nose always gets stopped up recording this. It's been fine all week. But that is... How far down? Is that 2? That is, in fact, 3. So if I want it to go all the way down, then I am going to have triples there. But anyway, what I was going to say is we can have this be a canal going into here and have everything kind of not greatly irrigated. But these last couple trees here will be irrigated well enough for there to be minimal issues. That's what I'm getting at. So if that goes there, just go ahead and have that come all the way down. We do have the connectivity with the zipline stations, so the paths are no longer a concern. That's dead, which means that's dead. These cattail roots and stuff, I think, have another storage. Oh, I can't see anything. No, we don't have storage for those over here. I thought for sure we would have. Well, maybe that's... Oh, no, we do. We do. Just Spatterdock doesn't. Because we don't have to do that. But I think I've got Spatterdock storage over here. I know I have grilled Spatterdock storage. And I do have a 200 for the raw. So that's okay. They're going to keep pulling from this. Just go ahead and get those emptied. Go ahead and get this taken care of. I am going to keep this ladder here because we are going to need that, but the sooner the rest of this gets empty, the sooner I can put in our little diversion thing, and we can start closing this in as well. Although, to be honest with you, I kind of want to just demolish all this out and then put in more space for a dam, which would bring this all the way along to here, at which point I could put a sluice gate to go into our little irrigation channel, which would be nice. But remember that because we can bury this, which was my plan, we don't, you know, we could actually make that 3 wide and it would irrigate a pretty sizable chunk of this. Well, now you got me curious. Now I want to do that. I think that would be kind of fun. But we have a lot of wood. And I don't know that I want to have this entire thing blasted out one more level, but I'm probably going to have to anyway. Just for the sake of... Man, they're really not doing anything over here, are they? What are they even working on? Okay, they got that going. So that's an improvement. Well, we're increasing our metal production because we do need to have it, but we need to get the ball rolling on our food here. So while we do have the efficient farmhouse here, we do have these sunflowers that we are picking up. I think for the sake of, you know, the rest of our food that we have already killed, we probably need to replant this with a bunch of different crops. And we're not going to have paths going through here the entire time. This is just for the construction purposes as we continue moving along. But I believe I want to quadrantify. That's not a word. All this. We're going to start with the potatoes. So if we have potatoes here, just to have something to grow and pick, I think would be smart. Put potatoes there. Honestly, we could do carrots, potatoes, sunflowers, wheat. I know that's not going to be perfect ratios, but while we only have one level, we might as well use it to grow crops, right? Let them take care of that. There's actually, you know what? There's the most sunflowers available on this. So if we did carrots, potatoes, sunflowers here, and then wheat in this corner, I could just have this whole side just be wheat. And then this be carrots, not wheat. I put the correct thing down. I said the incorrect thing. So, you know how it goes. You watch these videos enough. You know what it's like. You know what's going on. So, yeah, they're taking care of what they got to take care of. We are doing whatever we can with what we got. As always. These guys can't pump water as long as this is like this, which I am aware of, but I would like to keep this as long as possible without letting any more water out. It's down to 0.67, which means this is open, which is fine, because then all this is just going to flow through here. Probably doesn't make a difference anyway. But yeah, I want to get this going here. I guess I need to pick and choose my battles of where I send my builder beavers, because we still have a lot of incapacitated beavers. Let's go ahead and pause the mine just so we can get those beavers working elsewhere and give these guys a chance to recover a little bit. I think that I mentioned bots in a previous episode about needing those over here. Well, we haven't gotten to that point yet, but we will need to. Probably sooner rather than later. So let's give these guys a little bit of a chance to start working here. We're not going to completely run out of food. We do still have a pretty good amount of reserves. We just needed to start the process of getting stuff growing, even if it's not perfect yet. Just get it started and let these guys grow more stuff. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to do a little bit of a better job at time-lapsing. The general feedback of the time-lapsing has been that it's helpful and it's good, but some people are concerned that it moves around too much and it's too fast to really see what is going on. So I'm going to try to, break it up a little bit and not time-lapse a ton of different action at once versus time-lapsing like one task being completed without trying to move the camera too much. So what you're seeing now is them putting additional terrain in for the second level of the farm, and then eventually putting in the dynamite and constructing as much of that channel as I can without moving the camera around too much, because I know that is frustrating to try to keep up with stuff as it's blowing by at 4,000% clip speed or whatever. So we're going to take a little bit of time to get that done, and then once that's finished, we're going to move on to the next task, which we'll talk about at the end of the time-lapse. Alright, so let's come out of this time-lapse, and hopefully that was a little bit more palatable of an experience for some of you. And I think we got a lot of nice stuff done in not a tremendous amount of time. We got the rest of this dirt in place, and I blasted this channel here. It's 3 wide. This is going to end up being filled in. I kind of forgot that I blasted that out because I was trying to keep the camera at the same angle. But again, like what I said is we're going to have this sluice just at the same level as the bottom of everything going on here, which this is now the bottom of the map. Can't put any more dynamite on it. Same as here, same as here, same as here. So we're going to eventually have to get into this. But 6.4 days left. We got 1,500 water stored up. The aquatic farm is sitting at 0.45, which is plenty for the next 6 days. And I think if we are smart, we do a good job with this. We can go ahead and get this kind of thing covered, and we can put dirt back on top so it's still usable for growing some trees, which again, we probably don't need many more trees, but if we have the opportunity to do something that makes sense, we should do it, right? So we take a look at our metal. We got 531 because we got a lot better production happening here now, which is very good. We still have 474 scrap metal. We are going to have to turn this back on at some point, but again, for now, let's go ahead and come in here, take a look at our overhangs. It looks like I can get by with putting some 6x here. Very simply, these can be 5s. Actually, no, these can be 4s here. 4s there, and then remember, we're going to be extending our reservoir. I'm just going to have this go in a completely straight line here, which gives us the chance here to go ahead and fill that in. We'll bring that back up to the correct level. They can fill that space in with the dirt if they so choose. And then on top of it, I will put the levees, which honestly we probably could make out of dirt, but these are already made out of wood, so we might as well just leave that as it is. But what we're going to have to do here is put in a sluice. I think 1 is going to be totally fine for our purposes. You know the drill. We'll just leave this set to, say, 0.8. Should be okay. I really hope there's no contamination, but again, you can never be too careful when it comes to stuff like that. So if that is going to go that way, then this can go this way. Oh, please. Get that popped in there, and then of course that's going to have to get refilled. What's stopping this from going in here? Is there a... Oh, there's leftover cattail. Oh, that's a pain. What am I supposed to do with that? Can I, Okay, I can mark that for deletion. They're just going to have to figure out how to get in here, I guess. That's an interesting problem to have to solve. I guess probably the only way I think to get around this is just by putting a staircase in. So that can get put in place, and then pause those two so nobody gets stuck. Because I do not want to deal with that. You know what? Let's just pause all of this stuff right here. Why not? Why not? But this can go ahead and get gone as well. But I will do this in little pieces so I can have this actually ready to get taken care of. Regardless, the point I'm trying, and we are trying, is get this situated here. This is going to be 7, so I will go ahead and put... I guess it doesn't really matter which one goes where. We'll do 3s this way, 4s that way. And then, thanks to the wonders of 3D terrain, don't even have to worry about it. Just get this whole thing situated, and we'll have some lovely water irrigating at least a little bit of this. I actually don't know how much it's going to irrigate, but we'll see what happens. We do have the zip lines to allow the beavers to get in and out of here, and then I am going to try to restore connectivity elsewhere. But again, there's so much to do, so little time, as is a very common theme. But let's see, we got one. Wait a second. I didn't need to have this here because I can just go right up into the bottom of that thing. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. And then I really hope this works, but it should, hopefully. Get that popped into there. Get that popped into there. And then that can get started. And then I suppose, well, we have the extra beavers. We might as well keep him employed here. Or maybe I can send him off to do something else. Let's do that. Let's pause this dirt excavator. I got 500 something. And try to get them working on this. And then, of course, we have all of this to take care of as well. But I said it a billion times. It takes time. We're just gonna have to deal with that. I am confronted with the idea, the invasive thought of, since this is already really low, how bad would it be to remove all of this and then put in dirt? I don't think that's a safe idea with only 5.7 days left in the bad tide, but I gotta tell you, I'm tempted. I'm really tempted to try it. Bad an idea as it might be. Let's see, we got 8 days. 8 days. These trees have 14. That's going to be totally fine. All right, so back in triple speed we go. I'm just trying to think about what we're doing here. Pause those, pause those. We have 13 unemployed beavers and 14 incapacitated. Well, guess what, kiddos? Back to the mines with you. Oh, that's horrible. But I think overall this is progressing quite nicely, and this is a much better solution overall to have this thing just shoved in here and also irrigate a little bit of this than this mess over here was. Now, I'm not going to remove this sluice until there's water back behind it because obviously it's going to flow out and then potentially dry out the crops. But it looks like we are in a very good spot. I think we could be pretty happy with. So, seeing how the irrigation pattern is set up here in the lack of water around it, I think we did about as well as we possibly could. I'm not going to block these corners off like we did at the bottom, or we didn't do at the bottom, because these are irrigated and they're going to be reachable. So, no reason really to mess with that. But I do really appreciate the math that was done, again, toward the beginning of the episode, regarding how stuff can get popped in. Really, really, really cool stuff. Obviously, there's still tons to get accomplished here, and we do still have to, build more on top. But for where we are now, this is functional. It has all the growable crops that we can grow. Literally everything. Those 4, and then those guys down at the bottom, looking tremendously nice. And I am really pleased with this. I think we've made some tremendous progress. They haven't finished this metal platform somehow. Either now I'm clicking on it to see that they put on 90 blocks in there, or they decided to abandon it and make me go check on it later. But 4.5 days left. We did very basically get this kind of set up. This, I'm going to just say, can be open. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm not, because this is a one-way thing. I'd have to take that out. But we do have an opportunity here to kind of enclose this a little bit, and I know it's going to look ugly, but sometimes ugly is still okay, as long as it works. So we're gonna pop in a couple paths here and make sure that that gets to the correct height. But at least 2 blocks high here, I think, is going to help us out a lot. We don't know how long the cycle is going to be to fill this up, but there's a tremendous amount of water, more than you might think, that can fit in here, and then we can always just remove that if we need it to backflow. It looks like they're making some decent progress here. The dirt is, I guess, in kind of short supply, and our accessibility isn't tremendously great since I started redoing most of the rest of this. But, man, get this leftover cattail out of here, man. We got stuff to do. Stuff to do. No silly billies, please, and thank you. I really do not want to have to deal with that. But yes, I was going to have this thing continued to be built. This, you know what? This ladder is actually kind of a nice thing to have access to here. I'm going to go ahead and pop that in so we don't have any more accidents, but if we get that prioritized, then we can just have these guys coming in right the way along here from both sides, from here and from up top. And I think that's going to work out really, really great. Just get the rest of this popped in as much as we can. I think I can, yeah, there we go. I was just really concerned about, you know, not isolating any beavers in the middle of nowhere here and making sure this is still accessible. Yeah, I think we're looking good. 0.31, 3 days left. 459 water is concerning, yes, but for some reason there was water in here, so we can let a little bit of that out, even if it is just going to really thin out and then dry up immediately. But we can get these guys pumping. And now I do feel fine getting this sluice opened up. And if it empties, then I can also do the super fun thing where I completely remove this entirely and put a sluice gate down at the bottom, even if it's just going to be opened permanently later because we haven't finished building this part of the levee. It will be in a better place, and we'll be able to make much better use of that. But yeah, I don't want these beavers to run out of drinking water, so I'm going to have all hands on deck here. This still has not been built because, of course, it hasn't. You know how it goes. We have the materials, though, so I guess they're just not tremendously high on it. Okay, well, now they're bringing stuff in as soon as I said something about it, right? That's always how it works. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. All right, I feel good enough now about getting rid of that. So just let all of this water out. And then, of course, we do have to come here with the dynamite, at least in that one specific spot. And I'll do this for good measure as well. Get that taken care of. And I guess... yeah, and you know, at some point I'm going to have to blast this all the way out. Today is not necessarily that day, but I do want to be able to have this go as far out as possible. Is that really going to... oh, boy. No, it's going to do that to me all day, isn't it? I guess I could just put in... because I don't need to blast that out. I don't have the 1x1, really? Okay. Well. That is going to make it possible to put this last piece in. This is all like pipe dream level stuff, right? Because it all takes time, and we don't have infinite time. Just have to be cognizant of what we're doing. Got 3 more days until that dries out. But that's all gone now, which means it can be pumped. 1.8 days is not going to be an issue, and we're going to keep the beavers hydrated. This is down to 0.28, but that is okay. Things are looking just fine. Just fine. This is about the point in the video where I try to think, man, did I promise somebody that I'd do something in the next episode and not write it down? Because I know that happens. And then sometimes people leave a comment like, hey, you said you were going to do this and you didn't do it. And then I feel kind of bad. But we're going to get stuff done, even if it takes me a couple tries to remember it. We've made some really, really nice progress today with this. I feel like that is a universally true statement. And now that we're looking substantially better with our metal situation, I got 8 vacancies. Yeah, let's pause the mine again. Make little tiny improvements. One at a time. One at a time. Do I have extra? I do. I have extra spots I can put potatoes in. And then, of course, once we build the other level of this... why has this not been finished yet? Like, it doesn't have any blocks. Well, it has all the blocks, but blocks is in things preventing it. I don't know why. I'll just see if I can get somebody in here to take care of that. It's very curious why that hasn't been finished, but it's had all 90 pieces, or basically half of the episode. How peculiar. Now, if they don't finish this, that's going to be a problem. But it's not giving me any reason why they can't do it. Well, all the water's gone, which, I guess bad news for the dandelions here, but we do have... wow, they got all that? Alright. Well, in that case, they can release the final bit of water. And we are going to blast this out later. It's just not something we've really had the time to do yet. That sluice there is going to be, at least for right now, covered with levees so we can actually retain water. Super prioritize all of that, then continue getting the rest of this put in place. In due time, as one does. And we can march right on into cycle 26, and I'm looking at my OBS, and I think it's about time to end the episode. But I don't want to end it without this actually being ready to go. We don't have dirt, which is kind of a funny problem, but this is operating now. Very, very slowly. I've got extra... what the heck? What the heck? We'll put more beavers in the dirt excavator just so we can get this finished, because I really like the idea of... finishing an episode with, you know, getting something accomplished that I said I was going to do, so then I don't have to look like an idiot any more than I already do. Okay, so these are paused, which means that goes away, which means that goes there, which means that goes there, which... oh, why is... oh, whatever. Who cares? They can't get stuck. But now it's cycle 26, and we're going to see that water come in. And we're going to see this start to fill up a little bit more. Just a little bit. Still kind of weird vibes going on here. I don't know what's up with that. But the good news is the levee is back in place enough for this to be serviceable. And we're about to see, if we peel this back, we're about to see this go in quite nicely. Remember, this is set to 0.8. We'll see this pop up. It can be now filled from 3 sides at once, so it should go up pretty quick. This is filling up. Oh, they didn't finish all this. That's, okay, well, I guess I can't be mad about that because they don't have enough dirt. So let's go ahead for right now, open this so we can get more dirt popped in here. Oh, okay, well, this is going to flood, actually. So let me set this to, yeah, set this to, let's say 0.9, because I don't want this to overflood inside here. I do have to put more dirt around the outside, etc., but I ran out of dirt. ran out of time. You know how it goes. So this, until this is satisfied, do I have this even set up? Okay, no, that needs to be set to I guess we'll say 0.8. Yeah, 0.9. Why not? Just get this nice and full. Because these are set to 0.8. So they will retain a little bit. As long as that doesn't cause sloshing, then I think that's going to be fine. Now, there is the... I'm not going to say danger, but the complexity of having the sluice at the very bottom level does mean that it can't... If you're using the close above depth, it can only go as high as the sluice itself is set to. But for our purposes here, where it's being constantly fed from the reservoir, I don't think it's going to be an issue. We just have to keep our eyes peeled. Everything's looking good. Yeah, see, it's one of those things that just takes so long to fill up, it's not really worth worrying about. The important thing is, they're making really good progress covering this up, and it is beautifully irrigated. We're going to have so much more room for not only activities, but also... that was a stupid movie. Also growing trees. The unfortunate thing is that... Uh-oh, the blueberry bushes died. Well, that wasn't on my list of things to accomplish today. That's actually really unfortunate. I did not think that was going to be an issue. I thought for sure this was going to reach all the way over there, but I guess I was wrong. Alright, well... That's a bummer. Well, you know, we did say we wanted to have the whole map be green anyway, so... If we go ahead and just... this is going to be dead in 0.5 days. Just get this whole thing blasted out, and we'll... what the heck, we'll just make it into a water dump. No reason not to. This whole thing will be nice and green anyway. Right, now this is finally starting to fill up here at the beginning of day 2. We haven't really added that much capacity to it, but we have made... this a whole lot more efficient, a whole lot better laid out, and I think that is tremendous. Oh, and we're flooding here because somebody didn't do their job correctly. Well, I guess I might as well. I mean, it's not the end of the world if we get a lot of stuff in the aquatic farm, but, you know, if it overfills, then the crops can die too, and that's going to be annoying. Yeah, it's at 0.81 already. Oh, man, why I didn't even have an exit over here for this. Why am I the way that I am? Why am I the way that I am? Well, what's that quote from The Office when Michael's talking to Toby? about how much he hates. That was so sad. Like, Toby's just a guy, man. But he's like, why are you the way that you are? I hate everything. I hate everything about the way you choose to be. Like, wow. Like, that's pretty deep talk coming from a Michael Scott type. But we're going to prioritize putting in all of this dirt here. And we know they can come in and do it. They just got to be able to get the dirt in. And it is prioritized. And again, this isn't going to kill everything, but left unchecked, it could become a very big problem. And, you know, it's also something we need to do anyway as we continue making this taller and taller and taller. So food has taken a little bit of a dip. I think well, we have 450 berries, so that's fine. But the carrots all dying out was a problem. The potatoes all dying out doesn't look like a problem in our food reserves, but the raw potatoes definitely are just now coming back. Lots and lots and lots of stuff to consider, but overall I think we've done a tremendous amount of good today. Go ahead and get a couple more things accomplished before we say goodbye. This is ready for a dynamite. We have dynamite. I guess I just have so many other fun things for them to do that they just don't think to come in here and put everything else in. And they can build this from either the bottom or the top. I guess that's fine. This is a long-term project anyway. I'm not really having to worry about it. I guess I could take this ladder stack out, but honestly, I kind of like having access from up here down into the forest. Should we ever need to get in there, I can put in a lumberjack flag or something here. But now we have the opportunity to take care of all of this. Hopefully no silly billies involved, but you and I both know that it's almost certainly going to happen. Just going to get this whole thing all the way across here, which they can build from both sides, conveniently. And eventually, this whole middle bit here, short of the industrial section, probably could just be turned into a large levee. We could even have an overhang over the top of this. We can relocate most of this food production to be somewhere else. Even right here, honestly, might not be a bad choice. We can just get the power routed differently. Lots of options. So, as always, I'm eager to hear your input and your ideas about it. I feel like, again, today has been tremendously successful. Even if we didn't get to the stuff that you guys wanted to see, I think this is very important. And the multi-level farm is multi-level farming. Somehow they have not finished this metal platform. What's up with that? I truly do not understand. I'm very, very... Oh, is that all I had to do is put it on the highest priority? Like, this was placed forever ago. Alright, so well, that's one mystery solved. I guess we can be happy about that. But it looks like now we are in the home stretch, and I think it's about time to go ahead and end this episode. I know I said that a couple minutes ago. But again, to recap what we accomplished today, mostly the multi-level farm not just being for aquatic purposes. We've increased our ability to fill it up with some nice drainage that also irrigates. Whoa, hold on. What's going on here? Oh, that's so weird. I think it's because of the pumps constantly changing the water around. That is fascinating. But we have, over on this side, we have an inlet here. We have, well, I probably should remove that, but the main fill here, backup fill here, started the process of making, you know, a secondary reservoir in this area. And, of course, there's plenty more we can do to improve this. But great improvements there. Doubled, theoretically, the amount of metal we can output. I do have to remember to unpause the mine to get that taken care of. But we have really set ourselves up for a tremendous amount of success in terms of retaining additional water and irrigating effectively with less waste, less evaporation, and making everything just a tiny bit better. So let's go ahead before we say goodbye and get... I guess I don't even have to have these back ones put in place, but we might as well. Oh good, we got a drought coming in. Drought in 3 days. That's perfect timing because I probably am going to need most of the rest of that to remember to finish all of our other fun stuff. But that's going to get put in place. That'll save... Well, it's not going to save the dandelions and it's not going to save the blueberries, but we can easily replant them. Not an issue. And yeah, there you go, folks. Great accomplishments. I'm really excited about this series, especially now that we have our mega build working. Not complete, but working, and we know we can replicate the design, and it's going to be tremendously successful. So appreciate you being here. Beard Boosters, you already know. Make it possible to continue doing the series to the degree that we do, and not worry so much about the YouTube algorithm dictating what I can and cannot put up on the channel. Your support truly does make it possible, and keeps the channel free of ads that people don't want to see. Well, the sponsorships, at least. The ads are how I eat. But I really appreciate you folks. Have a fantastic rest of your day, whatever it is you're doing. Stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you back again soon for more of this series and the other ones as well. Tomorrow's video is going to be with the Ember Pelts, and then Saturday videos are supposed to be this series. Last week I did this series on Sunday because I accidentally recorded the Apocalypse mode early, but I digress. We'll try to get back to the normal schedule and then get into some other fun stuff too. Streams will return hopefully next week. That's what I'm hoping for. A whole lot of delays in getting stuff accomplished, but I digress. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.